Hi everyone, it's Mrs. Wine. Welcome back to art class. Today we will be learning how to create coils out of clay or Play-Doh. So today you will need some sort of Play-Doh or clay. If you don't have any, you can buy clay even at a dollar store for a very cheap price, and you don't need very much. So let's get started. In addition to the clay, you're going to need some sort of work surface. I just like an old magazine or a little plastic tablecloth or a plastic mat to keep your table clean. And then today, we need to learn how we create a coil with our clay. So I'm going to take my clay out of my container, and rolling a coil is really just some simple steps. I like to always start off by rolling my clay into a little ball. Then I'm going to take that in the palm of my hands, and I'm just going to start rolling it back and forth in my hands. When I start to do this, it's going to become a long cylinder. Once that has happened, I simply take the clay and I start to roll it out. So I'm going to take my fingers, I start with one hand, and I just roll that clay out onto whatever surface I have. Now, as the clay gets longer, I can keep rolling. So I'm just going to keep rolling. Now it's so long I can use both hands. When you're using your fingers, you have to be careful. I use my fingers to kind of spread it apart. And as it starts to get too long for both hands, I simply break it in half. I can set one half aside, and I'm just going to keep working with the other half. And I just keep repeating that process. To make a coil with the clay, so I'll break that apart again, you can see that a coil is going to be a very thin piece of clay, almost like a little worm. So I just keep going until it gets thinner and thinner. And then the trick is, I have to make sure that it stays about the same thickness. So I move my hands up and down the clay all the way. And once it gets really, really long, then I am ready to create a line. Now, this mat that I created actually shows me different kinds of lines that I can create. I could start with a straight line, or I could take that clay and I could just bend it very slowly up and down and up and down. Oh, it happened to be just the right length to make a curvy line. Then I can take another piece of clay and I can keep going. I could use my clay to make any kind of line. What if I wanted to take my clay and make it into a letter? I could do the whole letters of the alphabet with my clay. I could do two pieces of clay. Here's one coil. That's a straight line. And then if I take another piece of clay, I can keep rolling thinner and thinner and thinner. And what if I made that bump around? Bump, bump, just like the letter B. So you can keep experimenting with the clay today. Keep rolling it out into coils. See what different kinds of lines you can create. The important thing to remember is you only put the clay on your surface that is acceptable. Never put the clay on your clothing. And when you're all the way finished, especially if you're using Play-Doh, make sure you roll it back up into a ball. Make sure you put it back into its container so it doesn't dry out. Sometimes you could drip a little drip of water or two in there if it's starting to get dry, and snap the lid on tight. I hope you had a wonderful week making coils of clay with me. Don't forget, take a photo and send me what you made. I can't wait to see your coil lines. Have a wonderful week, and as always, keep on creating.